Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of 9 to 5 Wellness Show. Today, I want to talk about work stress. Burnout and constant stress are very common in today's corporate settings. Modern workplaces are often synonymous with bustling activity, long hours, and high pressure demands, leading to escalating stress levels among office workers. And even if you're not an office worker, you are an entrepreneur or you are just a freelancer, let's say, you are still feeling the stress of constant deadlines. And then sitting at the desk also adds stress and tension to your body. So I'm always looking and exploring innovative ways to promote employee wellness. And among these solutions, one of the things that I have recently come across is energy healing practice for combating stress. And this is something that I've been wanting to talk about. And guess what? I was at an event and I met this wonderful person who is an energy healer. So today in this LinkedIn Live and on this 9 to 5 wellness episode, we'll dive into the causes, symptoms, and prevention strategies for reducing stress and burnout with energy medicine. And my special guest is Constance Korol. She is a healerpreneur and the CEO and founder of Meta 180, a holistic wellness company that specializes in helping individuals with their healing journey. Her expertise in energy medicine as well as physical fitness allows her for a 180-degree transformation in her clients. So, without further ado, I'm going to welcome Constance. Hi, Constance, how are you?
Aisha, thank you so much. I am doing so well. Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, I'm so excited. Thanks for coming. And I want to start with how we met because believe it or not, I've been reading about energy healing and all the different formats of energy healing. And I have been looking for a guest to come on my show to talk about it. And we met at the NSA meeting, right? And
Right.
how did we strike the conversation?
So, first meeting, Beth Granger, a dear friend of mine, and a mutual speaker, she invited me to my first meeting in New York City. And, with over 40 people in that room, we just kind of navigated, and I wound up sitting next to Aisha. And I'm looking around, and I turn around to her wrist, and I said, wow, okay, she's got to be a runner. Because in the world of Apple watches, not many people wear the Garmin watch, and so that's how we, uh, started our conversation with, "Okay, are you a runner?" And that is a serendipitous energy moment right there. That's the difference between struggling or fighting the energy and just letting it happen. Here we go, the two runners sitting next to each other, and then we couldn't stop talking.
Exactly. Constance shared that she is a triathlete. She used to be a runner, then switched into triathlons. And she had a triathlon, I think, that weekend. And I was training for the women's half at that time. So, yeah, you're right. Like it is all about the energy and the vibes you're getting from people around you, too, right? And if you connect with someone, then you're like, oh, yeah, this was meant to be.
Yes.
So it's amazing how, both of our energies attracted and we're here today. So I want to learn about your journey. How did you get started in the field of holistic energy medicine? What brought you here?
Great. So, Aisha, about 20 years ago, I was working in the healthcare field. I was a clinical dietitian at several hospitals and institutions. I did nutrition counseling on my own. And then I was just kind of struggling with it all. The way it was formalized 20 years ago. And I said, you know what, I need to take a break. So I went into corporate America. I traveled the world with that because I was in conference marketing and production. And I got to see a lot of different cultures and how they experience healthcare and everything. You know, I was in China, I was in Dubai, I was in London, I was in all these different countries. And I was blessed to just kind of understand what their approach was. So when I was weaning out of corporate America, I said, okay, I want to go back into healthcare, but in a very different way. And the first thing I wanted to do was layer yoga training into that. I've been practicing yoga for a bazillion years, but I really wanted to formalize it. And yoga is a medicine that's 3,000 years old. We just don't look at it that way, especially in the US. We look at it as, you know, this class that you take at the gym, but it's really a great form of energy medicine. So I went through my yoga teacher training and I taught yoga and I said, I need more. I'm really hungry for more understanding. Then I took a Reiki course and I was like, oh my gosh, this Japanese technique that utilizing my hands and understanding how I can manipulate energy for healing, this is incredible. So I went all the way into my Reiki master level, and now I teach. I teach Reiki as well as have private clients. And then I just kept on layering more and more modalities until I finally said, oh, okay, this is a really nice way of formalizing a company. Energy medicine, utilizing yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, sound bowl meditation, mindfulness, guided meditation, essential oils, and there's so much more to learn. But you know, it's a really beautiful way of approaching the healing aspect. So that sort of is my story there.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for sharing. And I like it how you just broke all the modalities down, starting with Reiki and then yoga and Tai Chi and mindfulness. They are all different forms of energy medicine and energy healing mechanisms. So that's awesome. And you're right. Like here in US, we don't think of yoga as an energy practice, right? We think, well, and I know that as a yoga instructor myself too, like, you know, it has benefits. It has physical benefits, the flexibility and
Sure.
of the muscles that doesn't go away, but it also is an energy practice too. So let's talk about then some of the benefits of energy practices and especially Reiki in particular.
Sure. So there's this concept of being, you know, physically fit, right? We know what that means. Then there's the concept of being chi fit. So when someone says to me, well, what do I need Reiki for? Ah, well, you know, do you have a couple of hours? You know, it's just one of the things that we ignore. It's one of the bodies that we ignore. We understand our physical body to some extent, right? Um, you know, we understand nutrition, we understand working out. Whether we do it is another thing, but we understand it. Our emotional body, we're starting to understand. Now we're starting to understand mental health and how do we take care of ourselves and what's self-care and what's a mental health day now instead of just taking a sick day, right? So we're starting to get that. Energy, well, it's not tangible. I feel it, and anyone can feel it when they start to learn it. But it's very abstract. So so Reiki is this beautiful way of manipulating energy so that we are flowing, that we are in this free flow. When there are blockages, when there's suppression, when there's stagnation, when we are in this dorsal vagus nerve state, which is literally just kind of a state of giving up. Um, we can suffer in so many ways, certainly mentally, but physically as well. And the 80% of healthcare visits are stress related. We can do this. We can tackle that very easily. And Reiki is a great way of doing that. Coming in for a session, I do individual Reiki sessions. It's about 50 minutes. I'll scan the person's body, or even dogs. I do dog Reiki too, and horse Reiki. So I scan the being, the organic being, and I can see if an area is raised or an area is flat. And then the goal would be to open up all those channels and even them out. The goal in Ooh. Talk about energy. I'm popping out my headphones here.
I do that all the time.
Talk about energy. Yeah, so the goal in any type of energy modality is to balance out right and left, yin and yang. Make sure that our brain and nervous system is working in conjunction with our cardiovascular system, our lymphatic system, our digestive system, our muscles, our bones, nerves. We want to make sure that all systems are working together, all channels are open, all chakras are open, and that's what Reiki can do. It's very powerful.
Yeah, that sounds like a practice which can just transform your whole system, right? Your whole physiology. What I'm listening to, what you mentioned, sounds like that. And I'm glad that you brought up something that people are on overdrive, right? We are in a hyperactive state, which we call the sympathetic nervous system overload in physiology, right? That
Yes.
our vagus nerve is actually not getting activated. So our parasympathetic nervous system, we are not accessing our parasympathetic nervous system. We always have the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight system, to protect you on, right? So it's always on. Your protective mechanism, which is your fight or flight system, is always on. And we are not supposed to stay there except for like short periods of time, right? Short bursts of stress, you go through it, and then you go on the other side of it where you help your body relax, come out of that stress, and then carry on with your day. But what's happening is, with I call it the digital overload, with all the emails and the projects and the deadlines. We are creating these imaginary threats in our brain, and our brain cannot decipher or differentiate between an imaginative stress or threat and a real one. So we are staying in that sympathetic overload. So it's amazing if a modality or a practice can actually get you out of that, can take you
Sure.
on the other side, where you are going to be able to relax. You're going to be able to actually access your parasympathetic nervous system. So, what does a typical healing journey look like for someone who is, maybe practicing or Reiki for the first time or the first few sessions? What would it look like?
So it would be different for obviously everyone, but someone can come in. Let me just give you a few examples. Someone can come in with suffering from a teen suffering from social anxiety or panic attacks. Someone can come in with something that's really just bothering them, anger, but they can't really understand it. And you gave such a great overview of the sympathetic nervous system. We are adrenaline junkies, and balance. The body wants balance. We want to be in sympathetic and parasympathetic, and we want to understand the ebb and flow with that. So some people are just coming in and they don't even know what's wrong with them. They think that maybe they need to lose weight. That's a common one. Or they are just they're suffering with their schoolwork or suffering with their sports, or they'll kind of formalize it that way. Then when we start to unravel the layers of the onion, so to speak, then we can see unresolved grief, unresolved trauma. We can see how there's unresolved anger, or living in these low vibrational frequencies of anger, fear, worry, jealousy, shame, embarrassment, that really weigh us down. It's not natural to our bodies to be that way. To your
Mm.
point, we think our bodies think that we're being chased by bears all the time. We're not
Yes.
being chased by bears. We're
Yes.
not. For the most part, we are safe. For the most part, we have shelter. For the most part, we have food,
Yes.
access to it. So we need to actually train our bodies to understand that we're safe.
Hmm.
First 5 minutes of any class or anyone I work with, I just get them to quiet down their mind and tell them that they're safe. I literally have to just repeat to them like a mantra, you are in a safe space.
Yeah.
And then the body starts to understand and unravel, and then we start to get to the work. But it's really getting the person to know that they're in a safe space first. Then we can take care of energetically how to address all the other issues, that they, primarily the reason why they're coming in, but then opening up and really getting to the core of the matter.
Yeah. Right. Right. So you mentioned something, and I want to expand on that. You mentioned it could be an individual session or a class or like a group setting. So tell me more about that.
Thank you. So I tackle the healing journey in several ways. I have private clients that come for sessions on a weekly basis. And then I teach classes. I teach yoga and Tai Chi at a club here locally in Syosset, Long Island, Lifetime. I also run my own sound bowl meditation classes, usually once a month. And that's a sound bowl immersion, so that people can come and understand what a high vibrational frequency is. Most people don't understand what the difference is between living in anger, fear, worry, jealousy, shame, embarrassment,
Mm.
and living in the simplicity of high vibrational energy of happiness and sadness if we're grieving. Most
Yeah.
people do not understand that sad is actually a high vibrational energy when it's appropriate, that we're grieving, grieving
Mhm.
whatever loss that may be.
Yeah.
And then I do some public speaking opportunities as well, coming into corporate wellness, a keynote speaker, as well as a breakout session, and present all the ways of how someone can approach energy medicine.
Sure, sure. So let's talk about Reiki in office settings and for office professionals. We know that, burnout is at an all-time high right now in the corporate world, especially after COVID. We have seen this rise in anxiety, depression, and burnout. So, how can Reiki help alleviate office stress?
So that's a great question. Um, I actually work with folks at Cohen Children's Medical Center. I work there per diem, and I work in the caregiver program, but I also work with the staff.
Yeah.
And especially during the COVID period, healthcare professionals were. I mean, I can't even. I don't have the words to explain how they had mismanaged stress. It was just unmanageable. And understandable. So just a 15-minute Reiki session with the staff, they would be able to see a clearer path. They would be able to just, get themselves into a state where, okay, I can go back to work. I can do this. And even working with my clients here, some of them come in on their lunch break and they're just completely overwhelmed with all the conversations that they had to have prior to coming in. So they come in and they're able to allow the body to just resonate in this high vibrational state. And now they have clarity. That's
Yeah.
Clarity is king.
Mm.
Clarity is king. This is not about positive energy, negative energy, what's toxic energy. It's about just being clear. Then you know how to approach conversations, meetings, challenges, whatever you need to do. But if you're not clear and you're just working in this busy mode of, hamster in a wheel,
Mm.
spinning your wheels. Okay, let me drink some more coffee. Let me keep on going. Let me make some more phone calls. And then you're missing the opportunity of sitting next to the person wearing the watch.
Yes, yes. This Garmin watch will always remind me of you, Constance.
Great story.
Right? It is.
Yeah.
I've been sharing it with a lot of people too. So, Constance, what I'm hearing from you is that Reiki or even other forms of energy medicine would give someone clarity. And of course, clarity is the king and queen when it comes to reducing your stress because if you want to manage stress, which is a normal part of life, stress is a normal part of life. It is an everyday process. You can't escape it. But do you want to learn how to manage it? 100%. If you want to live a healthy, long, and well life, that's it. You need to learn how to manage stress. So I'm just curious, how does Reiki in particular help with gaining that clarity? Is this like more of I'm familiar with what the Reiki practice looks like, not 100%, but I've gotten like a mini session many years ago. So how is that happening with the practice? Is this more like a session where you're talking to the individual, or it is just because of the energy transfer that's happening? How is it working? I'm just curious about the techniques that work towards alleviating stress.
Sure. So let's take anxiety for an example. It's very, very common in our culture right now, at all ages. Someone's coming in with anxiety. They just don't feel right. They're just completely nervous. So they'll come in for a session, and with um, putting on some music. I use my gong, I use my sound bowls, I lie them on the table. I'm telling you, within 5-10 minutes, they're out like a light. And then I work in the subconscious. So once they are so relaxed and their brain and nervous system knows, okay, I'm relaxed enough to get some sleep here. Let me go into a subconscious state, and then I'm able to work in all the energy lines. So I work in the meridian channels as well as the chakras, very similar to acupuncture, well, acupuncture is a more common um, way of utilizing the meridian channel system. So when we open up those channels, now the body knows that it's safe. It's able to think clearer. It's able to release any unresolved trauma, stress. Now, remember, we're hit with trauma every day, just
Mm.
micro trauma.
Yeah.
We our bodies have experienced macro trauma as well, um, where it gets stored in the tissues, it gets stored in the connective tissues. So
Mhm.
that's that. And once we start working on all that, then the body is able to just resolve
Hmm.
some, resolve just, and resolving can get
Yeah.
to that state of clarity. So when they wake up, they're like, oh, okay, wow, I feel so much better. It's usually the reaction. And then they're able to approach things in a very different way. When we're very stressed or when we're anxious, when we our brain and nervous system is completely fried and that adrenaline state, we think that we're being chased by bears, literally. But once we realize that we're not, then we are able to figure anything out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's a really good explanation. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing it with me. I can completely understand like how the process works. Okay, so now I'm curious though, how can we integrate Reiki in an office setting? Do we need like a special setup? How would that work?
So, great question. You could do Reiki anywhere. My mentor, Franz Steen, he has written so many books on this. He's actually from the Netherlands, and he's a big, big promoter of just sitting anywhere, no matter what. You could be in Times Square, it doesn't matter, and you can practice Reiki. All you have to do is just, concentrate. Close your eyes, concentrate on the energy. I feel it right now. It's a Tai Chi ball. And you can just work on relaxing and opening up your whole body. So, maybe in a private setting, but you can do Reiki really anywhere. It's a matter of just closing your eyes and concentrating on manipulating that energy.
Oh, that's really good to know. So you don't need any special equipment, any special setup within the office. Oh,
Your
great.
hands.
Yeah. Yeah, just probably like preferably, not necessarily, as you said, it could even be done in Times Square, but probably, preferably a quieter space, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So tell us if our listeners want to find out more about you, how they can get in touch with you. What's the best way?
That's great. If you don't mind, I'll put it in the chat as well. But
Sure.
my website is meta180.com. My phone number, which I'm happy to provide as well, I'll put that in the chat. You can call me, you can text me. It's on the website, and I'll provide that right now. And I'm also on social media. I'm just typing in my phone number. So Instagram is at Meta 180, and that's spelled out. It gets a little complicated. You can also find me on Instagram with my name, Constance Korol. I'm on LinkedIn, of course. You can find me there. And I'm happy to have any conversation and ask and answer any questions that you may have. This is not something that is, mainstream. Not yet.
Mhm.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
So, some people like, I have a stupid question. I said, there are no stupid questions, that's for sure. I mean, I'm happy to answer anything to clarify what all this could mean to you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that because you are educating people. And I believe in giving the power back to people as far as educating them on their health and well-being is concerned, so that the more they know, the more they would be able to take care of their bodies and their minds, and of course their souls. So this is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all of your information. Any parting thoughts, Constance?
My mission statement is getting more people on a healing journey. It is so powerful. It's an integrative process. I take pages out of Northwell all the time. This is not alternative medicine. This is an integrative process of gathering all different styles of medicine for your health and wellness, and really understanding the effects of stress, but understanding that you can live in a state of vitality as well.
Yes, and that's what's important, right? That's when you
Yep.
come alive. That's when you fulfill your purpose in life. It's not just about your physical health and well-being. It translates into all areas of your life. And that's why you should take care of yourself. And Constance, I'm so happy to that we connected and you came on the show and shared all of your wisdom. Really, honestly, it was very insightful for me. Even as a practitioner, yoga practitioner, I did not know a lot about Reiki. So thank you for educating us and sharing all your knowledge. And please reach out to Constance if you have any questions about Reiki or Tai Chi or any form of energy practice. She is here. I'm going to put all of these links in the show notes as well when it goes out as a podcast. And they are going to be in the comments of the LinkedIn event post as well.
Great.
So, people will have access to these links. So, thank you, Constance. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Aisha. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Okay. Bye, everyone.